personal lines. Desert Financial Credit Union is located at 300 North Gila Highway, inside Walmart, and their number is 602-433-7000.
And a big thank you to One Tom Plumber for sponsoring our KRIM Community Spotlight program. Good morning, Rim Country. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It's time to get back to work, back to the grind. But hey, what better place to do it than right here in the Rim Country. Beautiful day out there, and so hope you're enjoying your morning. Time for our Community Spotlight program again, and we're going to be talking about the Northern Gila County Fair. In the studio this morning, Faith Lowry. Good morning, Faith.
Good morning.
Also, Clay Soplin.
Good morning.
And Homer Sanders.
Good morning.
All right, good morning, guys. Thank you so much for coming in this morning to talk about the 70th Annual Northern Gila County Fair. Just talking about it before the program, and the Northern Gila County Fair is older than the Gila County Fair. So that's amazing.
Well, and it's also 70 years beats the town's 50 years.
Oh, I know. So interesting, Homer, you were saying the Globe Fair is approximately, or the Gila County Fair, approximately 50 years old?
Well, the Gila County Fair, I sold the anniversary sale there. I auctioned that one off, and I believe they're on their 52nd or 53rd year this year.
So just before, they started just before then, the town incorporated. That's pretty wild. Love the history, love the history. Also, we have a great story, don't want to miss, about the history, some history with the Northern Gila County Fair, and one of the past events that sounds quite entertaining. And that Clay and Homer are going to share that story. So if you're listening on KRIM, the radio, know that you can watch this live on our KRIM Radio Facebook page. Love to hear from you and see your comments as well. Maybe comment about your memories from the Northern Gila County Fair. Well, this morning, I know we're going to be talking about music, entertainment. You're going to be playing at the fair with your band, Moonshine Mafia, right, Clay?
Yes, sir.
And how many years have you been playing now with, I guess, Moonshine Mafia? How many years?
So that band formed in about, I put that band together, I think, in 2013, so 11 years.
11 years. So you've probably played a lot of different shows up here, venues. I know you were out at the Oxbow playing
Yes,
for the
sir.
rodeo dance.
Yeah, we've done a bunch of the rodeos, either at the rodeo grounds or at the Oxbow. The events at Green Valley Park for the summer concert series
That's
a couple
right.
times, and but yeah, all over.
Nice, nice. And auctioning. You're going to be the auctioneer for the livestock auction again this year, Homer. And how many years have you been doing that?
I've been selling 7 years, I believe.
7
this
years?
one, 7 years, seven or 9. I can't remember. I lose track of it.
And you've been auctioneering. You started, like you were saying, when you were like 5 or 6.
Oh
You
no,
know, you got
no! I was a ringman for years before I started auctioneering, and it was one of those things I finally got into later in life, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah.
I did enjoy hearing you practice your auctioneering. I bet your family wandering around the house hears it still.
Actually, my traveling buddies that I rodeo with, we'd be going down the road, and I'd say, "Boys, there's a fence post right there." And I'd just break in and I'd sell them a fence post.
Oh man, that's funny. Hey, so didn't tell you guys about the dates of this year's fair, September 6th through the 8th. And you definitely want to check out ngcfair.com. That's the website, ngcfair.com. And it has the schedule on there. So many events going on. Opening night, the opening ceremonies, hailing our heroes. I know you love that part.
Yeah, so on Friday, September 6th at 6 o'clock, we have our ceremony, our big opening ceremony. And we always pay tribute to our local heroes, our veterans, our first responders, our teachers, our government, just outstanding folks in our town and community. And this year, we actually have a flyover with the veterans, and they're going to do the missing man formation. If you're there at 6, you'll be able to see that about 6:15 to 6:20 because they've been out there timing it and checking everything. So lots of really cool things.
And it's the same group that did the flyover at, was that Flag Day?
Flag Day at Green Valley Park,
Green Valley
yes.
Park. It was amazing. They do a great job.
You know, even their commentary, everything they do building up is amazing. They have a great group of veterans that come and help. They present the flags. Our Payson Military Honor Guard will be there. We also have somebody coming to explain a little bit more about the newest branch of the military.
Space Force.
Yes, so that will be interesting. I hear a lot of funny things when people hear that name. So
Yeah.
I thought it would be cool to have somebody give us a brief, explanation of that new branch of military. And we'll have lots of really cool things, so.
Yeah, I was just excited because being in the Air Force, now the Air Force finally has someone to make fun of. Space Force. I mean, because we're the ones usually getting ragged on, the most, but also being the smartest of all the branches, we can hold our own. Yeah, being insulted by, a Marine, oh boy, come on. Yeah, but it's funny, the Space Force, that'll be good. That'll be very good. So, Clay, you brought your guitar today.
I did.
And I know you're going to hear a song. What are you going to play for us today?
Well, since we're doing the fair committee is doing the ranch rodeo this year, I thought maybe we'd do an old rodeo song.
All right.
This is one of my favorite songs that I'm going to say 1985 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Seals, and it's it's just a good rodeo song. So
All right.
we'll do that. Saw your picture on a poster in a cafe out in Phoenix. Guess you're still the sweetheart of the rodeo. We'll make the turn, and we still make the circuit in a one-horse trailer and a motorhome. Our birthday came and you never even called. Guess we never cross your mind at all. But then sometimes I think about you and the way you used to ride out with your rhinestones and your sequins, with the sunlight on your hair. And oh, the crowd will always love you. But for me, I've come to know everything that glitters is not gold. And old Red, he's getting older, and last Saturday he stumbled, but I just can't bear to let him go. And little Casey, she's still growing, and she started asking questions, but there's certain things a man just doesn't know. She still asks about you all the time, but I guess we never even crossed your mind. Then sometimes I think about you, the way you used to ride out with your rhinestones and your sequins, with the sunlight on your hair. And oh, the crowd will always love you. As for me, I've come to know everything that glitters is not gold. Everybody said you'd make it big someday, but I guess we were only in your way. Sometimes I know you're gonna know the cost, sometimes I think about you and the way you used to ride it with your rhinestones and your sequins, with the sunlight on your hair. And oh, the crowd will always love you. For me, I've come to know everything that glitters is not gold. Everything that glitters is not gold.
Alright, that's Clay Soplin, and he'll be performing with his band Moonshine Mafia at the Northern Gila County Fair, and that is on the 6th, or 7th?
7th at 6 o'clock.
Well, that's right.
That's
Oh,
so
man.
awesome.
That is.
I love that.
You know what? And growing up, never really got into country music. Being in Pennsylvania, my grandfather liked the Oak Ridge Boys and some other,
Sure.
you know, the country artists back in the 70s and stuff. But always into rock and roll. Then come out here, you know, and get into country more. But the storytelling, that's a big part of the country song, country music, and
Absolutely.
older country music, the storytelling. And you just listen to the story, listen to the lyrics. It's like, oh man, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's real good stuff. So, are you going to be wearing your rhinestone suit, you know, at the fair?
no.
Auction? No.
Oh, come on.
Hey, now that's something. That'd be a sight to see, doing an auction in a rhinestone
I'll pull out a tie. That's about it. Tie and a new hat.
suit. Hey.
But you know, you guys told us a story about an outfit.
Yeah, you know,
Sure.
yeah, talking about, you know, an outfit and getting dressed up. Again, if you're just tuning in and just started watching, talking with Faith Lowry, Clay Soplin, wow, Clay Sloplin, no, Soplin, Homer Sanders, and talking about this year's 70th annual Northern Gila County Fair. And you guys were sharing a story about an event from years past that sounds quite entertaining. How about you share that with everyone?
I'm trying to remember how long ago that was. It had to be,
Gosh, it had to have been 10, 15
years
years ago.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
a Northern Gila County Fair event, and
Yeah.
a good friend of ours, Donovan Christian, pastor at Expedition, they had put together an event called the calf dressing, where there are multiple teams, and teams of 3, I believe, right?
Yes, there was 3 on a team.
3-man team, and they turned a bunch of calves loose in the middle of the arena, and they've got a rope on them hanging off them, so they're running around wild, and each team has to go out there, catch the calf, and then put a pair of underwear on those back legs, which is pretty entertaining. But
Yeah, I want to know who else. Do you remember who else? Some of the other teams?
You know, it was for the churches. All
Yeah.
the churches in town were invited, and Donovan called me. He goes, "Look, you're our rodeo guy at church."
Yeah.
He said, "You do this all the time," and I said, "Only if Clay Soplin will do it." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Well," I said, Clay's really athletic and he's pretty handy." I said, "We'll be able to get by this." And so Donovan, he said, "What do I got to do?" And I said, "Just put a pair of underwear up over your arms." I said, "When we throw the cow on the ground," I said, "just grab its feet and we'll take care of the rest."
Oh man.
And it was entertaining.
Yeah, I want to, now my mission is to find some other people that participated, because, you know, it sounds like there has to be some others out there that, you know, got involved in this and, you know, were a part of this, so.
How big were the calves?
They were probably 250, 300 pounders. So
Yeah.
they weren't real big, but, you know,
Yeah.
they were
Did
enough
they
to-
run fast?
oh yeah,
Some did.
Oh, yeah.
people were getting thrown around and rolled in the dirt, so yeah, it was entertaining.
I believe there was a group of guys that came out. They all had on they were all matching, and they had on their shirts and their pants and hats, and they had the matching gloves and everything. And it was.
Yeah,
We weren't quite dressed up that good. We had matching
No.
T-shirts, I think.
Yeah,
w-
yeah, we did.
when you're that committed, you better perform. Like, the pressure is on. If
Yeah.
you have, like, you know, matching, it's like, oh man, you're setting yourself up.
We're still waiting on the championship buckles too, so
Yeah, that's another deal.
maybe Faith can help us out.
Maybe.
Maybe we should have a rematch.
There you
I
go.
had a guy, he came up to me and he goes, that was kind of unfair. And I said, why is that? And he goes, well, he said, you rodeo all the time. And he goes, it wasn't fair to the rest of those churches.
So you went?
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
just
we
never
did.
got your
Yeah, we
buckles?
did.
Yeah,
Never got the buckles.
We'll have to work on that.
still checking the mail every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Waiting for him to bring it.
Might be checking for a while
Yeah.
there. So hey, the livestock auction. Tell us a little bit about that, because that's one of the main events of the fair. I know we've had over the past programs different youth in to talk about their animals and all the work that goes into raising their animals, and it's all for really that auction, to show the animals and for the auction.
Right, and so this year our auction is going to be on Saturday, just like normal. 3 o'clock is when the buyers can start checking in and come and have a nice meal, their buyer's dinner. And then Homer will start the auction right at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let him share a little bit about how these people in town, whether they're buying or what they can do to help these kids who work so hard.
So when it comes to the auction, you know, it's like the ranching heritage. You work all year long to come down to one day you sell all your animals. And so all your eggs are in one basket. And so these kids, essentially what they're doing is, it's kind of like a historical thing. They're raising their steers, their swine, turkeys, goats, sheep, whatever it is, to bring it to market. And so the thing about the market is the showing, you will never get such a premier animal anywhere else that is fed this well, taken care of that well. And so whenever you look at the cuts of meat that you get from this, it's like over the top. You know, you can't get it anywhere, any store, go to custom meat shops, you won't get it. I mean, it's just, you know, these kids put so much time and energy into these animals. So whenever it comes sale day, you know, you rely on your buyers. You got to have buyers there. And, you know, a lot of people are like, well, I can't afford to steer on my own. Well, find a neighbor. There's lots of people wanting to go in all the time and split animals. And I mean, you can split turkeys, the swine, whatever you want. And actually, I think it was last year, I was doing a sale in Kingman, and they had groups of people that got together, like 4 families, and they were buying steers together, you know, so, and it kind of worked out for them so they could all split that up, because, you know, this is the once a year deal for these kids, and, you know, they just need the utmost support that you can give them. Alongside that, you get an amazing animal, and if that's not your deal, you can come do add-ons. You can add on at the sale to each kid if you want, split it up, or you can do an add-on for a certain kid that you like or whatever. There's so many ways you can help and support.
And that is something that, you know, I guess it never really hit me until you just said that. All the pressure, I mean, that are on these kids. I knew the pressure as far as showing. So, you know, when they talk about showing and their animal, you know, behaving, them, you know, walking the animal, and, you know, that pressure. But also the auction, because of all the time, the money they've invested in that animal. And like you said, it's their one-time shot.
Well,
One-time shot.
and these kids, they develop a relationship with those animals. And so sometimes when you see a kid just break down, because you're selling, they put their love and heart into that animal, everything they can possibly put into it. And they're like, oh man, this thing's selling. Like now.
Yeah.
In 10 seconds, he's going to say sold, and it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
So, you know, it does put a lot of pressure on them. So.
Yeah.
Well, and let me mention too that any animals that are there at the auction that are being sold, these kids, it's a business too. So these kids have had to have record keeping, vet records. They have lots of expenses. If you have a steer, the amount of food they eat in a week is huge. If you have a goat, you may spend $40 every 2 weeks or something. Or the turkeys, they definitely don't eat like a steer would. But it's also that time. So these kids don't get to go on these vacations all summer long and run around. They got to stay home. They have to feed their animals, you know, several times a day. They have to spend at least an hour walking your animals, doing different things. And I don't know about anybody else here, but I was pretty impressed watching these kids guide turkeys and pigs around with just a stick.
Mm.
With the steers, I know they outweigh the kid by about, 10 times usually, but they at least have something to hang on to. But I have seen these kids with pigs, and it's amazing, the amount of work that they put in.
Yeah,
It is.
you're right, and the amount of time they put in is incredible. We've been around a lot of kids doing that. We've sold livestock that became fair, for kids to show, but it just made me think one of the times we bought a pig that their parameters on their weight, that they've got to follow throughout the whole year. They've got to meet certain requirements, all this stuff Faith talked about, but also the weight, they have to always fall between a certain weight at a certain time of year, and so they're trying to maintain that, which is not easy. But we ended up buying a pig one year from a girl in Tonto Basin from the fair, and she had, towards the end, her pig was underweight, so they were feeding it molasses every day.
Yeah, with the grain.
Yeah.
So you had like a sweet pork?
Cartons of eggs, and molasses every day, and she told us that, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, and then we got it processed, and when we got that meat back, like Homer said, it was
Yeah.
like above and beyond anything we'd ever had, and every part of that pig tasted like honey ham. It was crazy, like unbelievable how good it was, but yeah, just the quality of the product you're actually getting is
Phenomenal.
incredible.
Yeah, and that's where I think it is, was it Caleb White? Yeah, Caleb and then Trent Haslow. And Caleb was saying, when asked how much time he spends with the swine, an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, the walking, taking care of bathing, feeding, just all of it, spending time
And you have
with
to
it.
remember that these kids also go to school from
Yeah.
8 to 4 every day, and that's if they're not in sports also.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of
Yeah.
responsibility. They get up really early. They have to clean their pens every day.
Yeah.
They have to feed. There's so much involved. So anything, even if you say, you know what, I really appreciate what these kids do. I would love to buy an animal, but I don't have, freezer space. Homer mentioned you can split it, but there's add-ons too. So what I do is anybody who brings me a buyer's letter, typically we will split up a certain amount of money that my husband and I set aside for these kids, and we share it between all the kids. I've seen kids lose a lot of money on these animals because if it's just a pay weight for a goat, if it's 80 pounds, you may not make much. So it's really good for Homer to work with the folks that are buying to get that price up, and then for us as a community to support these kids and give the add-ons and help them. A couple of my kids were able to buy their first vehicle, help pay for their college. It's a huge venture for these kids, and anything we can do as a community to support them, I recommend doing it.
So do you start working some of the buyers during the dinner,
So,
what's going on?
Usually, you'll go to the buyer's dinner, and I mean, I've got people walk up to me and they'll be like, hey, we're gonna spend $10,000 this year. Or we're gonna spend $5,000, or we're just gonna buy a steer or something, so you kind of know where some people are and what they want to do. I do some bigger sales, down in Maricopa County Fair. And I mean, they got contractors coming there and they go, we're gonna spend $80,000 this year. And I'll have like 6 of them. And I mean, but that sale goes for 2 days. And I mean, they sit there and they buy, and I can say, boys, I need a little help. And I mean, they jump in, and same here, it's a smaller fair, but you always have your people that are like, hey, I'll do what I can to help you out, or I'm gonna start everything at this much today, and so everybody's always trying to help and be supportive, and yeah.
And over the years, noticed this fair, I mean, there's really great support for the young people and the auction, everyone, auctioning animals. There's so many people that just want to give, want to help them.
And let me share one other thing too. So our fair, Northern Gila County, we are a smaller fair than like Maricopa County, but we are also, I don't want to say we're landlocked, but we have one high school, whereas a lot of these other communities have multiple high schools that come to their group. We have just a few of the smaller schools, elementary schools, and one high school. So we really definitely have a smaller group, but I feel like we do have great community support. And if you've never been to the auction, it is so fun. It is so fun. Everybody comes out, they're in a good mood, it's a good time, and then right afterwards, Clay's gonna be singing for us, so definitely come out.
And if you show up, I will pick on you. I promise you that.
It's super important to support these kids doing this. Like, you know, we played at a bunch of the fairs and been to them and bought stuff, but one thing that, you know, disadvantageous to our kids because of what Faith's talking about, we need to get as much support as we can to help them reach their numbers on their animals. And Globe, you know, they've got all the mines, and so all the mines set aside money every year to come to the Gila County Fair, and they'll dump tons of money on these kids' animals, which we don't have that luxury of having, you know, these huge businesses that are dedicating money each year. So it's really important for the individuals to come out.
Yeah, and if you can even get out to the fair starting Friday morning, I believe Homer's going to be doing all of the announcing for their actual livestock shows. So the kids get out on Friday, they start at 10 o'clock, and they start showing their animals for showmanship. They're judged on how well they can control the animal, their appearance, the appearance of their animal, and then they also have a market. Those are the animals that go to the auction.
Yeah, they get graded they get graded for their cuts. And
Yeah.
And then you can walk around too and view all of the animals in their pens, and they'll have presentations, you know, boards showing the cuts, showing everything about that animal. So that's really worthwhile to take time to do that as well.
Well, and the big thing is get there and meet the kids.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you know, it's all about what they've done and all the hard work they've done, you know, and this is their showmanship for everything they've done for a year, for getting up at 5 in the morning, taking care of their animals, and you know, the animal eats before they do, and all the care that they put into them. So it's really nice to see that relationships, and a lot of the kids, you know, they really like to tell you about it, and some are a little shy, but
Well, I know one that's not shy, Trent Hazler. He's not shy, and he walks his steer around the neighborhood. All his neighbors are getting to know his steer. And some of them, even the ones in the care facility.
Yeah, he was bringing up about there's a retirement or a care facility close by, and he said some of the people forget that they're not what species of animals, because they have Alzheimer's and stuff, and he said that people have made comments about what a big dog and what kind of breed is that, but it's entertaining for the neighborhood too, so.
Yeah, it's a great Dane.
One of my daughter, Emma, she's 25 now, but when she had steers, one year it got out of the ag building, and we had to have it arrested over by one of the care facilities on Longhorn. And we were laughing because they had police cars, and then they got the police escort back to the ag building. So it's quite an adventure with the animals as well. So fun stories.
Oh yeah, and so as Homer said, encourage everyone, get out there, talk to the kids, visit with them a little bit, and learn about the whole process, and you know, all the work and all the energy, time they've put into raising their animals, and show your support for them. Again, 70th annual Northern Gila County Fair, September 6th through the 8th. Opening ceremony is September 6th at 6 o'clock, and then Clay Soapland Moonshine Mafia playing Saturday night, along with another local, Matt Barr, who's coming back to play. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then Homer doing the auction again, and that livestock auction Saturday. Dinner at 3 o'clock, and then the auction starts at 4. So you want to make sure you're out there, get all signed up for that. And volunteers are still needed.
Absolutely.
So you can go to the website, ngcfair.com, sign up. There's so many different opportunities.
Absolutely. So you can do everything from ticketing, whether you're helping with trash cleanup, parking lot. There's all the exhibit area, so many ways you can help and be a part of it. It's a lot of fun, hanging up banners, taking down banners, visiting with people, greeting, selling t-shirts. So we've got lots of fun stuff. Don't forget about the goat roping Friday night and the ranch rodeo Sunday. We've got Cowboy Church to start us out Sunday morning. Lots of really fun things going on all weekend.
Hey, well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Clay, for the song.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Homer, for coming in and for everything you do for the kids with the auction and for our Northern Gila County Fair. So
Well, thank you. Hey,
Thank
we
you.
can't forget Bobby Lowry.
Hey, he was,
Hi, honey.
and I should have mentioned, yeah, he was watching on Facebook there, Bobby Lowry. And good morning to Bobby. Yeah, and you and Bobby, how much you support the fair and how much you do. So to
We
keep
love
it
it.
going. So thank you so much, Faith. And I hope you guys, you need to get out there. Not hope you get out there, but you need to get out to the Northern Gila County Fair. So much going on. There's something for everyone. So get out there September 6th through the 8th. Well, time to get back to the music here on KRIM. But thank you everyone for listening and watching. Also, a big thank you to One Tom Plummer for sponsoring our Community Spotlight program. We have music from James Taylor, John Cougar, and Moody Blues coming up. But first, let's get a quick update from the National Weather Service.
With this one, KRIM weather, this one is located in the
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, you're
Thanks, you guys. That was so perfect.